Hey all, hope you're doing well, hope you're staying safe. It is Monday the 15th of March 2021. Weekly news coming up. Sorry we didn't get it out either yesterday or Saturday. We were away from home doing a little mini staycation down on our drive. I hope to get that video out later this week. So the headlines this week, usual COVID stuff from the US and from Florida, stats on that. How are we doing? Good news is the main message. We're also going to look at vaccinations. How's the US doing and how's Florida doing? How's it ranking? We're also going to look at the recap of President Biden's speech earlier this week and when the vaccine is going to be available to all, and also a follow-up little conversation from Dr. Anthony Fauci and his thoughts on what's going to happen in the summer. Virgin and BA plan to recommence flights to Orlando, direct flights, in the coming months. So I'm going to have a quick look at that. Who's doing what are the prices, what are the availability on that first Virgin flight. Couldn't get that for BA, but I've got something for BA. Some news on air travel in the US and how many people actually travelled on Friday. This is the start of spring break and it was a lot. There was news this week from Brightline on the cost, the route and the timetable for operation from Orlando International Airport through to Disney Springs. That's actually very informative and it gives a definite timeline for operation, so have a look for that. Some Disney news, they sent a survey out to people who had stayed at some of their resorts this week, and it covered health and safety, digitalisation, and whether people were actually thinking about staying off-site, something unheard of at Disney really. We look at their park availability calendar for Walt Disney World for the rest of March, not looking great. For April, which is Easter, and for the 1st and 2nd of October, which is the 50th anniversary. We also look at the introduction of Disney's Magic mobile service, which could be a replacement eventually for the Magic Band. We'll have to wait and see. Into Universal, they sent an email out to annual pass holders telling them about possible park restrictions due to capacity being reached over the next few weeks. It is spring break. Spring break happens in Florida this week, but happens in many other states over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. So they're saying that there could be issues getting into the parks. Also at Universal, we were there this morning. We were at Islands of Adventure watching the Jurassic World Velocicoaster being tested from Bypass Bridge. So we've got video of that, have a look at that. And then finally we've got the weather. So if you're new to the channel, please do give it a like if you like this kind of stuff, and subscribe if you want more on a weekend. We'll also get some park stuff or restaurant reviews or hotel reviews coming up in the middle of the week as well. If you're old to the channel and you haven't subscribed, if you're sticking around for a while, why not subscribe and hit that notification bell, and you'll get this news once a week and other park related stuff or resort or restaurant related stuff once a week as well during the week. Okay, let's get cracking. US new COVID cases for Saturday was 49,907. The 7-day average for new cases across the US was 55,513. Last week it was 62,158. That's an 11% drop. Active cases in the US was 7.4 million as of yesterday. Last week at the same time was 8.9 million. That's a 13% drop. The 7-day average for deaths in the US was 1,307 this week. Last week it was 1,805. That's a 28% drop. In Florida, new cases yesterday were 5,244. The Florida 7-day average for new cases yesterday was 4,602. Last week it was 5,426. That's a 15% drop. And Florida active cases was 684,000 yesterday against last week 726,000. That's a 6% drop. Daily deaths as of yesterday was 82. The 7-day average for deaths in Florida was 90. And last week it was 128. That's a 30% drop. So the big ticket news there is the number of deaths, the drop of the number of deaths over the past week. The US as a whole was 28%. Florida slightly beat that with a 30% drop in deaths, which has got to be a great indicator for when borders can reopen. Obviously nothing on that yet. A look at the number of vaccines distributed and given. As of Sunday, 135.8 million vaccinations distributed. That was 114.1 million on March the 5th. 21.7 million in 9 days, or 2.4 million per day. Total vaccinations given in the US as of Sunday was 107.1 million. On March the 5th, 85 million. So that's 24.5 million doses administered in 9 days, or 2.7 million per day. The daily doses administered the previous week was 2.1 million per day. So this is another record week for administering doses. With the Johnson & Johnson kicking in now, I can only see that growing. So what percentage of the US has been vaccinated up to press? 21% has had at least one dose, so that was 16.7% last week. 11.3% of the population are fully vaccinated, that was 8.6% last week. I've got a new slide now which shows the type of vaccination used in those people that have been fully vaccinated in the US. Pfizer is 18.8 million, Moderna 17.4 million, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which was only introduced a couple of weeks ago, 1.3 million. As I said, I think that's going to grow rapidly. Florida now ranks 23rd for people with at least one dose by percentage of population, and that's up from 35th last week. It also ranks 23rd for people fully vaccinated by percentage of states, and we were 27th last week, so again a good step up. President Biden was live on TV during the week, something I watched and then made a comment straight after that event was finished on the Hit the Theme Parks Facebook page. Lots of news coming up on Hit the Theme Parks Facebook page. Please do go there, follow that page for daily news. A couple of big takeaways from President Biden were that there will be enough vaccines available for all adults in the US by May the 1st. The week previous to that we were told that vaccines would be available to all adults by the end of May, and previous to that it would be by the end of July. So real strides forward being made in the number of vaccines available. President Biden didn't say anything about when those vaccines would be given to people. My gut feel guess, if you like, is still sometime in July. Dr. Anthony Fauci was asked when we could expect a return to normality and whether that could be by July the 4th, Independence Day, which President Biden referred to in his speech. And Dr. Fauci said that masks and social distancing could be gone at that time. He was fairly vague, he didn't give any concrete guarantees on that, and certain things have to happen for that to happen. But that's the first time I've heard anybody from the government realm say that either masks or social distancing could be gone in the summer. So I'm really happy to hear that. Earlier this week, Virgin said it would recommence direct flights to Orlando on May the 17th. I had a quick look at its website today for prices and for availability. The first flight out from Heathrow is VS 135, leaves Heathrow at 11 o'clock, getting into Orlando at 3:15 local time. The cheapest fare now available is £469. The most expensive in business class, upper class, is almost $5,000. Here's the seating map for that flight as at Sunday the 14th of March at 6:30 p.m. Orlando time. Less than half of upper class is now available. Only 5 out of 35 premium seats are left, and all economy class is pretty much sold out. I had a quick look at BA as well. I couldn't get much information from them, but the information I did get was that the flight goes on the same day from BA is a lot cheaper than Virgin. So if you are looking to come out on May the 17th, then I would have a look at BA rather than Virgin. Their business class flights looked really good value to me. Of course, just because Virgin and or BA say they're flying or operating an aeroplane doesn't actually mean that anybody from the UK can get in. The UK is still on the list of countries that are banned from entry to the US if you've been in the UK within the past 14 days before your flight. So no guarantees at all, but a lot of people seem to be putting their faith in the airlines having bought those tickets. Good news then from President Biden and from Dr. Fauci. Potentially bad news is that the US saw the most number of people passing through its airports last Friday than since the epidemic kind of took hold in March 2020. So spring break as well, people moving around into warmer climates from the northern areas, snowy areas, and will that have a detrimental effect on the way that COVID-19 is passed around? We don't know yet, and we won't know that for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but watch this space. Big news from Brightline this week is that it's now put forward its plan, its photograph that shows the line from Orlando International Airport down to Disney, that's the line by the way, down to Disney Springs. Nothing yet on where exactly that station is going to be, but it's going to cost them $1 billion, and it's going to take them 5 years to complete, which I think is astonishing. I thought it would be way less than 5 years. I don't know whether they've got to build tunnels or build bridges, but you know, we're doing 20 miles worth of I-4 reconstruction in 6 years. I would have thought that rail is a little easier to put up than road, but 5 years. So, question: if Disney curtails its Magical Express at the end of 2021, which it looks like it is going to do, or has stated it will do, then Mears is probably going to take over, and it's going to be charging. So, not a question, statement, I guess, is for the next 4 years after that, people who were going on Magical Express will now be on Mears and will have to pay for that privilege. Or I would price up an Uber or Lyft instead of Mears. Some Disney news then from last week, and Disney is introducing to Walt Disney World its Magic mobile service for iPhone, iWatch and Android. So this basically supersedes or acts in tandem with the Magic Band, and you can now use your smart device for opening rooms. You can already order food on it. So this to me is that they're just catching up with some of the major hotel brands like Hilton. I stay at Hilton quite a bit, and I've been able to use my phone to open my door in most hotels for at least a couple of years now, maybe more than that. So Disney, I think, are just catching up with that. But does that mean the end of Magic Bands? That must be a bit of a money spinner for Disney, especially since they've stopped giving them away for free to resort guests. I guess kids could still use them, but I'm not sure how many adults would want to wear a Magic Band and an iWatch or use their mobile phone. I don't get it, but I guess Disney are moving with the times. Also last week, Disney sent out a survey to certain resort guests who stayed there last week. It was only a 4-question survey. So the first question was about mask wearing and social distancing. The second was about character appearances. Did people think there was enough? Did they see them at all? The third was about digital interaction with Disney. And the fourth, which is the one that caught my eye, was whether people had thought about staying off-site. I've never seen Disney broach that question before, but we all know that there's a lot of perks gone now from staying at a Disney resort. So I'm guessing Disney has now taken it on head on to understand how many people are saying yes, we are now looking at not staying at Disney. And does that mean that some perks will be reintroduced to resort guests if they get enough people saying yes, we're really thinking about not staying at Disney? What will Disney do about that? So that'll be very interesting to see the outcome of. Moving on to the Walt Disney World Parks Availability calendar. I'm looking at 3 months now, actually 4 months if you include one date from 2 months. Theme park ticket guests are now simply referred to as theme park guests, which is better for me because at least it's easier to say. It's less of a mouthful. Pretty much all of the rest of March is unavailable for them. For select resort guests, another change. It's the same picture, but for annual pass holders, now referred to as annual passes, they have more to choose from. Looking into April, Easter Sunday is April the 4th, and a lot of people seem to be taking that week off. For theme park tickets, there are 5 days with no availability. It's the same for resort guests, but annual passes, again, are good, with only Magic Kingdom on April the 24th unavailable. A quick look at May sees the 4th unavailable for theme park tickets and resort guests at Hollywood Studios. There is still some availability for annual passes, but as far as I know, there are no Star Wars weekends this year. A reminder that October the 1st is the start of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary, and Magic Kingdom is a sellout for all ticket types. For annual passes, Magic Kingdom and now also Epcot are unavailable. Remember that Remy's Ratatouille adventure debuts at Epcot on October the 1st, which is why those tickets are going as well, and I would imagine they'll go for theme park tickets and for resort guests as well. Universal news: annual pass holders were sent an email this week reminding us or advising us that there could be capacity issues because of spring break for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. Reminder that there are no reservations at Universal Orlando. It's first come, first serve. That includes resort guests in deluxe hotels. I would always say to people, get there early anyway. If you're a resort guest or an annual pass holder, you get in early. I would avail myself of that just to make sure that you are in the park. We were at Islands of Adventure today. We missed the opening of the bypass bridge yesterday when we were there, but today we didn't. We were on bypass bridge and we were looking at the ongoing testing of the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. It looks fantastic. Took some video, here it is, and you can see it going pretty close to us overhead actually, and it does 2 loops. First time I've ever seen a coaster doing 2 loops of pretty much the same thing. It sounds really smooth and it goes very quickly. It's got inverts and everything. It's going to be fantastic. No opening date announced yet, but I'm hoping it's going to be fairly soon. Finally, the weather for the next 10 days, getting up to the 90s for a couple of days and down into the 70s for a couple of days. The rest of those days are 80s all the way, not much chance of rain, just great weather to be in Orlando. Okay, that is the news for this week. I'll be back next week. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a like. If you want more, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll get it every Saturday or Sunday usually, and you'll get something in between on parks or resorts or restaurants in between time. Until then, take care guys, I'll see you soon. Cheers.